Oh, I wanted to connect here also. No, not that one. I have so many machines. This one. And then, no, that's not it. Okay, start over. So, okay, that works. No. Okay, we don't want. And that's strange. Oh, okay. Audio. Chord. Got it. Okay. Hare Krishna. Chord. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Merry Krishna. Vishnu, a Merry Christmas, as one devotee put it. We Vishnu a Merry Christmas. So welcome all of you who are joining today. There are more devotees joining than I expected. I was thinking today is Christmas Day. Everybody is busy with Christmas festivities, maybe with family, but here you all are. Oh yeah. Yes, and we have a newly initiated devotee with us, Odarya Janani Devidasi. You can all welcome her if you want to turn on your microphones for a minute. Odarya Janani.
Haribo!
Outside
Haribo!
Vienna.
Haribo!
Haribo! All the best.
Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Haribo!
Welcome,
Hare
dear sister.
Krishna.
Haribo.
Thank you all. Thank you, dear Guru Maharaj. Thank you all.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
You're outside. It's cold outside.
Yes, my child is sleep time. Is baby carriage.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Yes, my usually day.
That's the
yes.
routine.
I want to say only short something. 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago, I received pranam in Sadhu-bhavan, and I asked Guru Maharaj, how you live without your connection without direct connection with Srila Prabhupada, how you live without him. And you answered me, I feel him each moment that he is here with me. And now, after initiation, I feel it too. I feel each moment that my Guru is with me, really. And when I touch my Japamala, or I remember that my Kantimala is on me, I know I am in my family and my Guru is with me each moment. Thank you so much.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Odarya Janani. She likes to be called Janani for short. Janani means mother. mother of Audarya, which can mean munificence, which can be a name of Srimati Radharani. So, okay, let's begin. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanditanscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dido Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we have some singing to do and some discussion to do and some more discussion. And in this way, oh, and I think we have possibly also some additional presentation from last week's Vyasa Puja. I heard rumors. We will see. Okay, now let me see where I am. Let's go here. Yeah. Okay, let's join Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his lamentation. Spiritual lamentation, Upalabdhi, Anutapa-laksana-upalabdhi, song number 5. Ore mana, klesa-tapad dekhi je oshesh, avidya asmita abhinivesa durbar, raga dvesa panca klesa. My dear mind, all I can see is unlimited material miseries and difficulties on all sides. Especially there are these 5 specific troubles: ignorance, distraction, misconcentration, misdirected love, and impurity. Interesting how they've been translated. Avidya, asmita. Of course, avidya is ignorance. Asmita, he's translating as distraction. Literally, it comes from the word asmi, which is Sanskrit I am, and asmita is the abstract form. So I am-ness, the mentality of thinking I am. So basically like aham mameti, aham mama. The aham part is asmi, I am. But he's translating it here as distraction, which is interesting. Third, abhinivesa, which he's translating as misconcentration. Usually abhinivesa, as far as I know, is translated more like fear of death. Misconcentration, abhinivesha. Okay. And then raga and dvesa, misdirected love. That's nice. So raga is usually translated as attachment. Here he says misdirected love. And dvesa is usually translated as aversion. Here he's translating it as impurity. Also interesting, something, yeah, some food for thought in all of these ways of translating. Avidyatma-bismarana, asmityanya-bhibhavana, abhinivesanye, gadamati. And then some explanation in the second verse translation. According to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, Sadhana-pada, third sutra, the affliction of these 5 miseries results in continuous degradation in the following ways. First, avidya. Ignorance makes me completely forgetful of my nature as pure spirit soul. So avidya atma. Bismarana, of course, means forgetfulness. Smarana, remembering. Bismarana, forgetting. 2, asmita, conceited, egoistic pride, causes me to be distracted from the real essence of life. Anye-bhibhavana, I guess is the translation. Asmityanya-bhibhavana. Okay. And third, abhinivesa. I have become deeply absorbed in trivial pursuits. Gadamati must mean trivial mentality. Gada. And 4, raga. Anye, priti, raga, andata. Andata, that's no doubt a long A. We can check I found I just so happen to have Kalyana Kalpataru in Bangla Lipi, so we can see what the where the diacritic marks are. Okay, so this is going to be anye gadamati, anye priti ragandhata. Yes, raga andhata. It's again kind of an abstract noun. Anda, we can say blindness. So let's see, he translates abhinivesa, I have become deeply absorbed in trivial pursuits. Next, raga, I've developed love and attachment to things which are averse to pure God consciousness. Okay. Anye, priti, love for something else. Then vidvesha atma-vishuddhata. Dvesa, my soul has become filthy, means very dirty, and polluted, means like dirty, by nasty qualities. Nasty is dirty. Nasty. How to translate nasty? Anyway. Panca klesa sadai durgati. I'm always suffering these 5 sufferings, klesha. Okay, then 3rd verse, Bhuliya baikuntha-tattva. And that we should be able to understand. Baikuntha-tattva, the reality of Vaikuntha or the truth of Vaikuntha. Bhuliya means forgetting, having forgotten. Maya-bhoge su-pramatta ami korya bedai. Due to all these distracting troubles, I'm forgetting my real home in the spiritual world, the eternal land of no anxiety, and I have become completely mad. Maya-bhoge su-pramatta. Su means very, and matta means disturbed, mad. Pramatta means very disturbed. So super really disturbed. Su-pramatta. By frantically means in a mad way, trying to enjoy all the so-called enjoyments offered by Maya's illusions, maya-bhoge. Thus, I surround myself with so many misconceptions of me, me, me. Oh mind, my dear brother, e amar, she amar, e bhavan anibar, basta kore mor chittamai. Thus I surround myself with so many misconceptions of me, me, me. Oh mind, my dear brother, just see how my heart has become full of so much anxiety due to constant worries about this is mine, this is mine. E amar, she amar. Amar is the possessive, my. A, this, she, this very. E bhavana anibar. Anibar, I think could mean repeatedly. and bhavana, this mood. Vyasta kore, more chitta by. Oh brother, more chitta, my mind, my consciousness is vyasta kore, has been made wasted. It's disturbed. Roga-samanopay. Let's see. Oh, this doesn't. Oh, here we go. Excuse me, just checking. Dekhi. Well, the numbering is different. Amar. That's 3. Okay, finishes there. Here we go. Roga samanopay, says here. Samanopay. Anveshya. Hi. Mile vaidya shadya jamopam. Yeah, jamopam. Oh, right. Yama upama, compared to yama. Ami-bhrama maya-bhrama oshadher kram dekhi chinta hoy lo visham. Visham, yes. I am searching for the remedy to cure this material disease. Roga samanopay. Okay, so upaya, we should know that word by now. It means a process or a way or a means how to do something is an upaya. And shaman would be to suppress or to reduce or eliminate. Roga means sickness. Anveshya, hi. This I'm not sure. Anveshya. Mile vaidya shadya jamupam. So vaidya is a doctor, and sadhya, let's see, is it short or long? Shadya, no, it's short. Shadyo, yamopan. In any case, and this doctor that I found is no better than Yamaraj. He's equal to, he's the same as Yamaraj. Brahma, let's see, is that long or short? Brahma, no, it's short. Right, because it's not referring to the demigod Brahma, it's referring to Brahman. Brahman, moi Brahm, oshader kram, dekhi, that's misspelled. Yeah, it should be dekhi, dekhi chinta hoilo vishama. This doctor has given me the prescription. I am Brahman, Maya is false. But now, when I see the result of this so-called medicine, I feel an unbearable anxiety in my conscience. So, Brahma, maya-bhrama, oshadir, kram. So the oshadi, the medicine, krama means steps, and I guess procedure. Also, the procedure of taking this. What does he get? This doctor, so-called, he's told me I should think I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. This way I'll get rid of maya, the Brahma, the mistake of maya, of illusion. Dekhi, dekhiya, seeing, chinta hoilo visham, it's just given me unbearable anxiety in my consciousness. And then, eke to roger koshto, yamopam vaidya-bhrashto, e jantran kise jai mor. Shri Chaitanya doyamoy koro jodi samashoy par hobe e bipad gor. On one side, I feel great difficulty and grief from these 5 material miseries. So that's the raga, dvesa, the 5 kleshas, raga, dvesa, abhinivesa, avidya, asmita. Usually they're listed avidya, asmita, raga, dvesa, abhinivesa, in that order. So on the one side, I feel great difficulty and grief from these 5 material miseries. And on the other side stands the corrupted doctor, the Mayavadi, who's just like another Yamaraj. How will I ever be able to get freed from being sandwiched, pushed together in between this tormenting agony? E jantran kise jaimor. Jantran, I think here, from yantra, which can mean something like machine or device. Of course, yantra can also be a design, like a symmetrical object for meditation design. But it can also mean a kind of device or machine. Ejantran kise jaimor. How kise? How? This is the question. How will I win? Jai. How will I be victorious? How will I prevail? There's only one remedy. Shri Chaitanya doyamoy. If I would simply take complete shelter of Lord Chaitanya, koro jodi shama ashroy. Ashraya means shelter, shama ashroy, complete shelter. Jodi means if, so koroha, if I would take complete shelter of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, doyamoy, of Lord Chaitanya, who is doyamoy, who is full of mercy, par habe e bipad gor. Then only I will easily cross over this ghastly calamity. Vipada here can say means calamity. This can mean accident, it can mean trouble, misery. Vipada santuta shashvatatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsyat apunar bhava darshanam. Kunti Devi prayers. Give me more trouble. But Bhaktivinoda is saying, please take away this trouble. Which is not just some trouble, it's ghora, it's very heavy trouble. And how will it be possible? Par hobe, para, other, or going across, I guess, will be possible. How? Shri Chaitanya doyamoy. By taking shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Katanchana asmite asmit, duskaram sukaram bhavet, vismrite viparitam syat, Shri Chaitanya namamitam. let me offer obeisance to Lord Chaitanya, whose memory makes difficult things easy and whose forgetting makes easy things impossible. Okay, let's try it. Hare Krishna. Let's try it. Okay. Ore, mana, klesa-tapad dekhi asesa. Avidya, asmita, abhinivesa, durbar, avidya, asmita, abhinivesa, durbar, raga-dvesa, panca, klesa, raga-dvesa, panca, klesa, avidyatma-bismarana, asmityanya-bhibhavana, avidyatma-bismarana, asmitanya-bhibhavana, abhinivesanye, gadamati, abhinivesanye, gadamati, anye priti, ragandhata, videshatma-vishuddhata, anye priti, ragandhata, videshatma-vishuddhata, panca klesa shadai durgati, panca klesa shadai durgati, buliya baikuntha-tattva, maya-bhoge su-pramatta, buliya baikuntha-tattva, maya-bhoge su-pramatta, ami koriya bedai, ami koriya bedai, hey amar, say amar, bhavana aniva amar say amar bhavana aniva basta kori morchita bhai basta kore morchita bhai roga-samanopay andesiya roga-samanopay andesiya nilebadya sada yamopana nilebadya sada yamopana ami-bhrama maya-bhrama osadhe krama ami-bhrama maya-bhrama osadhe krama dekhi chinta ailovis shana dekhi chinta ailovis eketo roga-kashta yamopana vaidya-bhrashta eketo roga-kashta yamopana vaidya-bhrashta jantran kise jai mo jantran kise jai mo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Toyamoy Koro Jadi Samasa Shri Chaitanya Dayamoy Koro Jadi Samasa Har Habe Ebi Adan Go Har Habe Ebi Pad Go Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Sai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura ki jai. It's interesting, he's referring to the classical yoga system of Patanjali. We could spend more time with that, but it's mentioned in the translation that this is right at the beginning of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, that he lists these kleshas, these troubles, raga, dvesa, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesa, abhinivesa. And this is a nice way to summarize what's our problem. Material life, what is it? It's avidya, asmita, raga, dvesa, and abhinivesa. Pretty much everything's included there. And then in the final verse, eketo roga koshta yamopam vaidya brashta ejantran kisejai, more. What am I supposed to do? Now I wanted to solve the problem of these 5 kleshas. What did I get? I got a doctor who tells me I should meditate on impersonal Brahman. And this is just giving me another misery. I had 5 miseries, now I have 6. And what's the solution? Shri Chaitanya doyamoy koro jodi samashroy. To take not just shelter, but samashroy, complete shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, this bipada, this trouble, which is ghora, which is so much trouble, serious. It's a serious problem. We're in the material world. We try to get out, and we end up in Brahma and effulgence. It's all a problem from every perspective. So I will ask your patience. I'm going to come back in about 1.5 minutes, and then we can proceed. Hare Krishna. Meanwhile, you can sing Christmas carols or whatever you like. Okay. Good. So then, let me just look over here. Yes. Now, I think, again, there's a rumor, and maybe Divyambara can confirm the rumor, that Divyambara wants to sort of continue the party from last Saturday.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. My obeisances to you.
Hare Krishna.
Everybody. I'm so sorry I couldn't fully participate last weekend. So thank
No
you
problem.
for the chance. I would, first of all, I would like to thank you, Guru Maharaj, and all the devotees for continuing our weekly Sanga, Saturday Sanga. It really is the highlight of my week, and it just gets better and better. And I can see your camera got better, Guru Maharaj. We can see you so much better. Whatever camera you're using, it works great. And the
Really?
sound is better.
Madai
Everything.
doesn't like this camera.
Really?
Yeah, he
Oh.
says it changes the perspective too much.
It looks very professional.
Okay, I will
Great.
quote you.
You always strike me as one of the most balanced people I know. I've been focusing a lot. Yeah, it not really. You never go into extremes in terms of opinions or activities or personal traits. In our day and age, that's a remarkable accomplishment. And you set a wonderful example for all of us. I've been thinking a lot about.
My new name is Plain Vanilla.
How come? Plain vanilla?
Yeah, no extremes, no nothing, just plain vanilla.
Oh, like the ice cream. I've been thinking a lot about balance too, because writing my new cookbook called Joy of Balance. But thank you. In my childlike attempt to glorify you, I would like to reflect on a few of your many, many balanced qualities. And I created a slideshow just for fun. Let me share it. So you possess seemingly opposing qualities, Guru Maharaj, but they balance each other out beautifully. For example, you're heavy. You're a guru. You're heavy with wisdom, knowledge, with your life experience. It's really amazing how wealthy you are with all this, how heavy you are with all this wealth. And also you have a lot of books in your library. But at the same time, you're light. You lighten an intense conversation or topic with your tasteful humor. And you're very lighthearted. You never hold a grudge. And I couldn't resist but add Dr. Seuss' image here.
Yeah.
I know you grew up with Dr. Seuss. You're also very serious. You're serious about life's purpose. You carry many responsibilities in your service to Srila Prabhupada, also in our lives as well as our teacher. You carefully consider your words and actions. And at the same time, you're very playful. And you teach us how to have fun in devotional service. And also how not to take ourselves too seriously. I tend to do that. So you always come to the rescue, in my case at least. You're strict in following your vows and sadhana. And at the same time, you're very flexible and understanding toward others and where they're at. You don't expect us to be perfect, and you encourage us to find happiness in our service and to make progress from wherever we may be in life. You don't push us to be artificial devotees. You're loyal to Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnava teachings. You never deviate from the Siddhanta. At the same time, you're very broad-minded. You honor other spiritual traditions. You teach us how to do that and how to establish common ground for respectful dialogue. I really appreciated the our discussions on the diabolical Vaishnavism. And
Diabolical?
sorry,
Dialogical.
dialogical, I'm sorry.
There's a big difference.
I'm still waking up this morning, I'm sorry.
Oh,
But
okay.
I remember Gurudev Prabhu would say, open-minded is kind of like Madhyama Adhikari, and broad-minded is Uttama Adhikari. And you're one of the most broad-minded people that I've ever met. Also in the sense that you accept everybody the way they are, without judgment. You are very creative, finding newer and newer ways to express your devotion and to invoke Krishna Bhakti in others. You have a very high standard of artistry. In your writings, this shows up in your writings, in your musical expressions and many other ways, your drama. At the same time, you're very encouraging in our creative expressions, however imperfect they may be. You are extremely productive, writing books and articles and speaking and getting things done. I personally have a hard time keeping up with you, with all your classes that you've been giving for the past 1.5 years online. I'm still catching up on them, but you've written so many books and you continue to write both for the Vaishnava community and the scholarly community. At the same time, you're very patient with our much slower pace, just like a fisherman. Patiently waits for us to bite, to grasp whatever you're offering. You fully surrender to Krishna in body, mind, and soul. There is no doubt about that. At the same time, you're very down to earth, practical. You take very good care of your health, and you insist that we do the same. I'm really amazed, and you're in such good shape, Guru Maharaj. Your health is so good at your age. It's remarkable. And you accept whatever works to best continue service. And you're very expert at managing material energy in Krishna's service. So, thank you very much.
Mm.
And Guru Maharaj, you're one of those exceptionally rare souls who has completely dedicated your life in service to others. And whatever you do is for the benefit of others, whether it is by directly inspiring Krishna consciousness or indirectly, simply being in your presence benefits others. And we're also fortunate to know you and to follow you as our teacher and guide. The more I understand your mission, the more I realize how rare and extraordinary you are, and how special it is to be in your orbit. So thank you for being there for us. Thank you for lovingly uplifting each one of us from wherever in life we may be. And thank you for being most patient and encouraging with our spiritual progress. There is a saying that when one constantly thinks about the qualities of another person, be they good or bad, one involuntarily acquires those qualities. So I pray that I may continue to meditate on your glorious Vaishnava qualities every single day. Then rest assured, one day by your grace, these qualities will also spark and shine in my heart. So I may follow in your footsteps and serve exclusively for the pleasure of Shri Krishna and to benefit others. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very nice, Divyambara, all the way from New York, from the Big Apple. Was this artwork done by someone we know?
No, I just got it
Okay.
on this document. I could go on and on, but I ran out of images. So I wanted to use real pictures of you, but my library is not so big.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Nice. Thank you. And Dira Lalita was commenting also that this presentation was fun. Nice and also lovely and fun, she said. So yeah. Thank you. Do we know yet when your second cookbook is going to be out?
Yes, it will come out, Krishna willing, in the fall of 2022. It's being proofread now. It's came out beautiful. The design is really beautiful. I think you'll like it.
It's the same publisher, right?
Yes,
And
Polly, yeah.
it'll be the same format as your first one?
Yes.
Good, okay. Very good, very good. And it's called, what was it, with balance?
Joy of Balance.
The Joy of Balance, yeah.
An
Sounds
Ayurvedic guide to cooking with healing ingredients. It's the subtitle.
Ah, that sounds good. Very nice. Okay, thank you. I guess we should ask Dira Lalita if there was someone else who wanted to say something continuing last week's party, or can we proceed with this week's?
Maharaj, no one else asked for.
Okay.
So.
Okay, that's fine.
We have more time for your class, which is wonderful.
Well, let's call it a discussion because I want to look at what I mentioned kind of last minute last time, so I don't know how many of you caught it, that we could look at where this verse Trinadapi Sunichena Dororivasahishana is found in different contexts in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In purports, actually what I gave you, I think was all except maybe one, or maybe it was all, within purports. And what I realized is that because I took these from the index of the particular edition I have, it seems like it was only including those and not including the 3 times, I think 3 times, that it appears as a verse within Chaitanya Charitamrita, quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj. So I dare to ask, did anyone find time to look at these different contexts of this verse? Anybody? Ipek is nodding. It's nice.
Hi, Guru Maharaj. I have only got up to Adilila 8.
Okay, but you started.
8:16.
Okay.
8:16.
All right.
And I found out that there are twice Srila Prabhupada have mentioned Trinadapi Sunichena in 1:750 and in 8:16 Adilila. What Srila Prabhupada quotes it. And a few more things that I found out is that Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing on two things. One is when somebody offends the Vaishnava acts humbly and meekly. And he gave the example of Lord Chaitanya going to Benares, the Mayavadis, and he's paying them obeisances after he heard from Tapan Mishra that he was criticized very badly.
Mm-hmm.
And the other example is that if Vaishnava sees that other Vaishnava or Lord is offended, then Srila Prabhupada said one has to get angry as a fire and act on it. And also there are some examples of Lord Chaitanya wanted to kill Madai and Jaga and Madai when they hurt Lord Nityananda. That's how so far I went.
Yeah, that's good.
In my reading.
Ipek, Bhaktin Ipek, did you have something you wanted to comment to this?
I wanted to say similar things. Also, the story. So I think from the verses that you gave us, two were about the Leela, the Benares Leela that was just mentioned, and two other ones were from Haridas Thakur's life, about how a prostitute was sent to her and how the prostitute was purified just by listening to him chanting. And I found those leelas particularly affecting for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we're thinking about context, we're looking at some narrative. So something is happening, a story, and then within the story, there's a kind of course, Srila Prabhupada is giving various elaborations or explanations. And then within some of the explanations, elaborations, he's quoting this verse, Trinadapisanye, right? So it's one way just to remember a verse, to remember an instruction. And of course, we understand this particular instruction is central, it's core, it's one of the 8 Shiksha Ashtakam of the 8 of the Shiksha Ashtakam. It's the third verse. And in that respect, it's quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita practically at the end of the book. So it's Untitled Chapter 20, in which we hear Krishna Das Kaviraj gives us a description of Lord Chaitanya speaking the 8 verses, not immediately one after another, but rather one verse, the first Cheto Darpana Marjanam, and then there's some reflection on that verse or some expression of how Lord Chaitanya, what is his mood. And then to the next verse, Nam Nama Gariva Huda Nija Sarva Shaktis, and so on. And then we come to Trinadapisanye. Now let's see which verse I found it. Yeah, verse number 21. So we have this kind of context where it's within the text itself, meaning the verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita, of Krishnadas Kaviraj. He is quoting Lord Chaitanya, but although we understand these instructions are so central, they're coming at the very end of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And one might wonder, well, why is that? Shouldn't they be in the very beginning? So one way to understand why they're coming at the end, we could say, well, one could look at the story of Lord Chaitanya's life, and perhaps it's not clear, but it could be understood that it was toward the end of his manifest life that he spoke these verses. That's one possibility. Another possibility just came to my mind, for what it's worth. Upakrama-upasanghara abhyaso apurvatapalam. Artavada upapatti cha lingam tatparya nirnaye. The 6 lingas of a text by which one understands the meaning of the text, according to classical Purva Mimamsa philosophy. So upakrama means the commencement, the beginning of a. It can mean the beginning of a book. It can mean the beginning of a chapter, or the beginning of a section. And then upasanghara is the opposite. It's the end. And again, in this case, it would be an example of the end of the book. So we can say we understand the message of Chaitanya Charitamrita as a whole by focusing on chapter 20 of Antya-lila. Somebody doesn't have time to read the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, read chapter 20, the very last. Read the first chapter of Adi-lila and read the last chapter of Antya-lila. That would be a kind of option. The first chapter, Adi-lila, the first 14 verses are especially important. They are the Mangala Charana, and they are then elaborated extensively in the verses of the remainder of that chapter, and then chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first 6 chapters are a purport to the first 14 verses, you can say. And that we talked about that a little when we were discussing chapter 4, Adi-lila, how it's explaining verses 5 and 6, which are describing Lord Chaitanya's purposes in appearing. And especially chapter 5. No, what am I saying? I'm getting chapter numbers mixed up. Chapter 5 is Nityananda Prabhu. Chapter 6 is Advaitacharya. What I want to say is chapter 4. Chapter 4 is glorification of Srimati Radharani, especially. Okay, getting off the subject. So, upakrama, upasanghara. So that could be one way of explaining the context in this particular case. And I think I mentioned before, it's helpful to appreciate context because the context of a verse is illuminating the verse, and also the verse is illuminating the context. So it's, in any case, illuminating. Oh, but the point I wanted to make now is that this can also be a way of remembering. We want to remember. Okay, so one way to remember is to remember the story, the narrative of Lord Chaitanya in Varanasi, or as we say nowadays, Benares. It's the confluence of two rivers, the Varana and the Asi rivers. Three rivers, sorry. There's the Varana, the Asi, and of course the Ganga. So Lord Chaitanya is there, and what's happening? Well, he's chanting and dancing and having a great time doing Sankirtan, what Lord Chaitanya does. And what are the other sannyasis in Varanasi doing? Or Kashi is another name for Varanasi. What are they doing? They're studying Vedanta, they're studying the Upanishads. And so it seems they're all kind of sitting quietly in one place and spending their time in that way. And maybe they see, maybe they hear about this sannyasi, Krishna Chaitanya, who's come to town. He's a stranger in town. Who is that strange Swami? So they see he's out in the streets and he's just carrying on, and it's really an embarrassment, actually. It's an embarrassment to their order. They're commanding respect from all the townspeople because they're so renounced, because they just sit and read and discuss Vedanta. So that brings respect, and with respect comes power. They're able to, have influence on people. But then here comes this strange Swami from Bengal. People in Bengal, they're so uncultured. That's the wild East. Nobody goes as far as Bengal, who is connected with Vedic learning. Well, actually, they do, it turns out, of course. Navadvip is a hub. There's Varanasi, but there's also Navadvip as a place of Sanskrit learning. Anyway, so they're kind of mumbling and grumbling about Lord Chaitanya, and this is heard by the two followers of Lord Chaitanya. One was Tapan Mishra, and the other was Chandrasekhara Acharya. And because they're followers of Lord Chaitanya, they have all admiration for him. It's very painful for them to hear this, what's really criticism of him from these other sannyasis. It's very painful. And so at one point they can't take it anymore. But they don't want to embarrass Lord Chaitanya by, maybe trying to say something against them. Besides, they're not sannyasis, and who cares about them? So they turn to Lord Chaitanya himself and ask him what to do. And it's in this context that Srila Prabhupada is quoting Trinadapi-Sanichena, one of his several cases. And they say, Kotek shunibo Prabhu tomar nindan, na pari shahite ebe chariba jivana. How long can we tolerate the blasphemy by your critics against your conduct? Kotek, how much? Tomar nindana. Nindana is blasphemy or offense against your conduct. We should give up our lives rather than hear such blasphemy. Na parishahite ebe chadiba jivan. Chadiba actually means we will give up. We will give up our lives rather than tolerate this. Then Srila Prabhupada begins his purport. One of the most important instructions by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regarding regular Vaishnava behavior is that a Vaishnava should be tolerant like a tree and submissive like grass. And then he quotes, Trinadapisanichena, etc. And he translates the verse. And then he goes on. Nevertheless, the author of these instructions, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, did not tolerate the misbehavior of Jagai and Madai. So he takes it back to another context. He tells that story about them harming Nityananda Prabhu. What was Mahaprabhu's response? He became angry. He wanted to kill them. It was only Nityananda Prabhu's mercy that stopped him from killing them. And then Prabhupada explains, one should be very meek and humble in his personal transactions. And if insulted, a Vaishnava should be tolerant and not angry. But if there is blasphemy against one's guru or another Vaishnava, one should be as angry as fire. And that's interesting because it's not in the verse, right? The verse is just about being humble and tolerant. So that's, so here you can say Prabhupada is, he's explaining the exception to the rule, basically. The rule is be humble and tolerant. The exception is when another Vaishnava is being insulted or blasphemed. Then, should you be humble and tolerant? No, you should be the opposite. And to emphasize that you should be angry as, be as angry as fire. And then he explains, Lord Chaitanya gave this example in the case of the situation with Jagai and Madai. So the point is that that's one example of a context where we can remember, this is reminds me of the case where these two devotees in Varanasi were disturbed by how these sannyasis were acting. So they didn't want to just tolerate. In fact, they were suggesting maybe we should just give up our lives, because that's another option that's mentioned. One of them is cutting out the tongue of the blasphemer. One is going away, one is giving up one's life. It's all very dramatic and hard to imagine. Going away, of course, that's okay. That's something we can manage. And maybe we don't want to go around cutting out people's tongues. Okay, another context. Yeah, this is chapter 8, Adi Lila. And okay, this is in the purport to chapter 8, verse 16. Bahujanma kore jodi shravana kirtana tabutana-pay Krishna pode premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavors to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of chanting. Now, this is within context of Krishnadas Kaviraj, who is well, he's leading up ultimately. The title of this chapter is "The Author Receives the Orders of Krishna and Guru." It's going to tell his story of how he became a Hare Krishna. That is, Lord Nityananda personally came to him in a dream, told him to leave home, go to Vrindavan, and there you'll find you will gain all that you desire. But he's explaining about Lord Chaitanya's purpose in taking sannyas. He's taking sannyas because he is, in order to spread his mission, he's not being sufficient. He's not really being respected as a householder. Who listens to householders, right? Some of you who are householders might feel this way sometimes. You try to speak Krishna Katha and people sort of shrug their shoulders. Oh, he's a householder. What does he know? Not necessarily. Fortunately, in our ISKCON society, in the Vaishnava community presently, there are many excellent, we say, preachers who are householders, and they are very much respected. But in Lord Chaitanya's time, it seems that it was not so much the case. And so Mahaprabhu decided to take sannyas. And then he quotes, this is a very nice verse, number 15, one verse before the one we're looking at. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Koroho Vichar, Vichar Korile Chitte Pabe Chamotkar. If you are indeed interested in logic and argument, kindly apply it to the mercy of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you do so, you will find it to be strikingly wonderful. This verse makes me suspect that there were some sort of logicians lurking around in Vrindavan when Krishnadas Kaviraj wrote his Chaitanya Charitamrita. He doesn't say anything explicitly, but it seems like he's concerned about the logicians. Just before this, he quotes, logicians say, unless one gains understanding through logic and argument, how can one decide upon a worshipable deity? Of course, that would be in his time. They might want to do some reasoning to determine who to worship. Modern day logicians are more likely to say, we don't do logic to find out someone to worship. We do logic to find out that there is no one to worship. In any case, he's introduced the idea of applying logic to the activities of Lord Chaitanya. And then he seems to turn back. It may be because of he's thinking about the logicians again, that he says, Bahu janma kore jodi shravan kirtan, many lifetimes you may do Shravan and Kirtan, Tabuta na pai Krishna pade premadan. But you won't get Krishna prema, you won't get the result. Prabhupada adds into the translation, if one is infested with the 10 offenses in chanting. That's not in the Bengali of the verse, but it fits. It's, it explains the verse. Why? What is the problem? The problem is making offenses while chanting. And then he's quoting Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. Although one may go on chanting the Hare Krishna mantra for many, many years, there's no possibility of attaining the platform of devotional service unless one accepts Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he says, one must follow strictly the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu given in Shikshasaka. And then comes the verse, Trinadapi Sanichena Tarorivasi Hishnana. So that's nice, because what he's saying here is to accept Lord Chaitanya is to accept his instructions. So we can take that in steps. We can say, you want to receive the benefit of hearing and chanting. The acharyas are saying, okay, then you have to accept Lord Chaitanya. What does it mean to accept Lord Chaitanya? It means to accept his instruction. Which instruction? He gave so many instructions. Yes, all the instructions, but number one, Trinadapi Sunichena, Karorivasishana Manina Manade. The attitude to adopt or to cultivate in chanting the Maha Mantra enables the mantra to be constantly chanted. Kirtaniya Sada Harihi. One can say that the main line of this verse is Kirtaniya Sada Hari. The name of Hari, of Krishna, is Kirtaniya. It can be chanted. It's not like in the Orthodox or traditional, I don't know, Orthodox Jewish tradition, one doesn't pronounce the name of God. It is too holy. That's the understanding, at least for some in the Jewish tradition. No, it is kirtaniya. It can be chanted, it can be glorified. Then when can that happen? Sada, always. And that was explained in the previous 8 Ashtakam, Shikshasakam. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarvashak Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala. There are no restrictions as far as time, place, circumstance for chanting. Yeah, so Trinadapi, okay. And of course, there's so much more in the purport. Prabhupada's emphasizing the importance of the name. Let's see, there was something. In the chat.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, ich habe meine Hand aufgehoben. Shalangita Vidansi. I wanted very shortly quote I wanted very shortly to quote a quotation from Srila Prabhupada. It's not from Chaitanya Charitamrita, but I was thinking it's really matching. It's from the last chapter of Krishna book.
Mm.
And that was for me also like touching.
Mm.
I'm sorry. The process is easy and helpful. And Prabhupada means hearing Krishna Katha. It is simply to chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya has therefore recommended that one should be callous to the material ups and downs. Material life is temporary, and so the ups and downs of life may come and go. When they come, one should be as tolerant as a tree, and as humble and meek as the straw in the street, but certainly he must engage himself in Krishna consciousness by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Yes. Krishna book 19th chapter. Thank you.
So that's nice because you're saying that's in the 90th, the final chapter, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of underlining the point about upasamhara. The sort of concluding point becomes the decisive point of the text. That's nice. Thank you. Okay, and I see a question from Divyambara. How do we apply the principle of responding to blasphemy when that's happening on the internet, social media? Oh, that's a difficult one. Maybe, no, he's translating. I was going to ask Kavichandra to answer that because he's a media person. It's hard to translate. It's too complicated. Okay. Let's see. Do we have any other social media socialites? Any media socialites who want to give that a try? Yeah. We're not so media social, are we? Socially mediated. Media means to mediate. This, it's been noticed. This is one of the major problems.
I can be heard now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Dharmagupta Prabhu unmuted me.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking about this many times. So it is a bit complicated because social media are very ephemeric. I mean, someone is commenting and this is going, down of the list or the wall, so-called wall. For example, wall of Facebook.
Gone,
yeah.
Gone tomorrow.
So it's very hard to discuss with anyone because you are commenting and then nobody is reading this. People are writing comments, but usually they are not reading comments. That's one thing. So
Yes.
So this is always in communication. This is quite often an issue with hearing, because it's much easier to comment than to hear. It's
right.
It's people don't usually don't think like this, but that this is true. It's much harder to hear. For example, sometimes people are seeing only title of the article and nobody is reading the article, but they are commenting. Yes, like, or I can give you an example. I was reading one article. Actually, it was only title of the article that says that we have less and less species of birds in Poland, and people are commenting. But in my house, I can hear so many different birds.
Birds.
Birds. Yeah. No, I never know how to pronounce this. So I was thinking, okay, so I can assume that people that are commenting, they are not that nobody read this article,
right?
Because it's like it's the situation like someone says, okay, my daughter died, last year, and someone is commenting, but my daughter is still alive. It's
it's irrelevant.
Yes, completely. So it's so hard to discuss in the internet. It's much
Mm.
harder than to do it on live. So that is one thing. Thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing, I can say only from the perspective of non-violence communication, and that's completely different attitude. So it means we never see someone is saying hard words. We never see it as something wrong. We always can look that someone is expressing his emotions and unfulfilled needs.
Right.
So I think because we have also there are 4 options actually when someone is saying something nasty or blaspheming. One is we can cut the tone. That's one thing. We can consider this, of course, and all consequences.
We can again, to do what?
To cut the tongue of the person.
Right.
That's one option. And the second
might be hard to do in the internet.
Oh yeah, that's of course. Then we can go away. That's the easiest part, because we don't like to spend our energy or time, and and then we can give up our lives. That's also option. But it's it's quick and and very ultimate. And but as far as I remember, there is also a 4th option. That means we can, if we have power to convince the person that he or she is wrong, then we can do this also. But that's for someone who is able to do this. So, but before we can convince someone, we need to hear this person. Otherwise, this person is not able to hear us, because she or he is upset, full of emotions, and is not ready. There is no readiness to hear, because there is quite big need of expressing. So until we don't hear this person and we go deeper into those emotions or needs, then we can't we can't reach to this person, to the heart of this person. And you said about this some weeks ago, as I remember. So, but it's not easy to hear someone who we think that he or she is blaspheming devotees. That is very, very painful, as it was in case of those two devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So this is very painful, but so what we do, we need to we need to think about our needs. Like, for example, our need is to defend our devotees or our guru. So we need to wait with our needs and first hear this person. So it's not easy in internet, because when usually I'm doing this, and when I asking some questions that are trying to understand this person, then the discussion is over, because this comment is already long way down on the wall. But sometimes it is possible when we can start with on privat if we have time and will. And sometimes it is possible, and the person then is saying, yes, this is exactly what I'm thinking when we ask questions. For example, are you feeling, upset because you saw this family that is doing this or that thing, and therefore you are saying that he's stupid or something? I'm giving example because it is often, it is happening sometime. So this person says, yes, exactly. So then when person finally is expressing that is understood, because that is something, then we can say, my perspective is completely different because I know this and that about this family, and I know better the situation because I was witness, or I have more info or whatever, and then this person is receptive. The receptiveness is a key word, but this receptiveness is not existing until we are not giving a space for this person, so she or he can express this her way of thinking or whatever she needs to or he needs to express. So that's I would say it's an art. So if you don't like to spend time on this, it's not important for you, then you can go away. You just I don't know, don't follow this person on the Facebook or whatever because you don't like to use your energy, or just you don't like to spend your electric energy and pay bills for this discussion that is without any purpose. I'm sorry, just saying this because this is my field of study. Last few years.
And somehow, I guess Paramatma inspired me to ask you because of that. You've been thinking.
I hope this is answering the question of Divyambara Mataji. Because Divyambara Mataji, she asked.
Yeah, she was asking.
Yes, thank you very much, Kavichandra Prabhu. So nice to hear from you. I don't think I very much appreciate nonviolent communication. I've been studying it a little bit myself, but I don't think they will appreciate cutting off the tongue and giving up your life today as part of being nonviolent.
This is one of nonviolent communication is one of the option. You can choose. You don't need to do everything according to nonviolent communication. It's one of the options. So if you like, you can choose this.
Okay. But what I was thinking is, first of all, for me, it's very hard to understand how could somebody think that way? Like, how could they come up with such where does this mentality, does it really stem from offensive chanting? And then just thinking that way, how could they ever chant without offenses? So it's like a loop. But also it's almost like a drug to have this negativity and then to express it in the virtual space. So I personally stay away from it. I don't have time so much for social media, but it I cannot understand how can even somebody think that way.
It may be better to not try too hard to understand how they can think that way. I remember one of my professors at Oxford, Keith Ward, was making this point in some discussion in a conference. And I don't remember, but he was making the point that he said, as an example, he said, I don't want to understand Hitler.
Oh my God. Yeah, Hitler is the hardest.
I don't want
hardest
to
one
understand. I don't
to
want
understand.
to understand, because if I understand, what does that mean to understand? He's saying it might mean that I adopt something like that same mentality. Otherwise, how can I understand? So I don't want to understand. So that's another thing.
May I say something about this?
Yeah.
Because you, Divambara Mataji, you are asking or you express this kind of it's hard to understand why some people are going this way or are telling this way, or how it is possible that someone is developing such mentality, right, and saying such things. So I can give you example and just observe the situation, for maybe in case longer time, like 1 month or something, and just try to catch the situation when someone is telling you why you are saying such things like this. So then you are in the on the other side of the mirror, because then someone is surprised that you are telling such things, or is not able to understand you. In this way you can understand that there are such situations when people are telling things that are hard to understand. But how you can understand people, it's possible when you ask more questions, but you need to know how to ask right questions, to get the right answer. So that's the only way, because sometimes we think, yeah, how someone could do things like Adolf Hitler, but Adolf Hitler was also a spirit soul, and he did things, it's when we are reading Mein Kampf, then you can see what are his real, but it's the hardest things in the world to understand Adolf Hitler. I don't like to go into this. I don't like to understand Adolf Hitler. It's the hardest thing. Yeah, so I agree with this professor. Okay, so that's for me. It's really completely topic we can discuss on and on.
Yes. Sita Sundari has added a point.
So thank you. I'm going back to translation.
Okay,
Dharmagupta Prabhu, can you switch me as translator?
Sita Sundari just wrote to me, but I don't think she'll mind if I read. My experience in Germany on these things on social media is that a lot is very poisonous, and there is no use to try, because many are using this platform to find release for their emotional issues. It is easy to get entangled, and before I know it, I've spent hours. Yeah, this is generally my policy, is to ignore. My general approach with social media is kind of minimal. I'm basically just posting something if somebody's interested in it. Nice. And otherwise, Hare Krishna. Of course, if somebody says something nasty to what you've posted, in Facebook at least, you can remove it. It's not, you see, it's just like somebody spitting, there's no benefit to anybody. Okay, you can just remove it. And of course, if they're persistent, you can remove them from your list of friends. Okay, then Ipek again. Do you want to explain, Ipek, what you've just written?
Yes, sure. Maybe it's easier to say it.
Yeah.
So I was just writing that So in the reading, the sannyasis in Benares and the prostitute were actually initially not friendly to devotees. They were their initial intention was to harm. But for example, in the story, the prostitute was not punished by Krishna, and the person who sent the prostitute was punished by Krishna. So I was thinking, what's the difference between them? Although both of their intention was to harm. And it seems to me just that the prostitute was lucky to experience the holy name in a particular way. And when she came across it, she was ready to accept it. And so I said, maybe escaping Krishna's wrath is not so difficult.
Yeah. Well, of course, the whole point is that she's had many, many hours of association with Srila Haridas Thakur. And so in the course of her sitting near him and hearing him chant, what's happening? She is getting purified, purified, purified. So that in the end, when it comes to that point, she realizes the folly of her efforts. Then she submits herself to Haridas, who then at that point, in a sense, takes the position of guru for her, although you can say unofficially up to that time, he's been acting as guru because she doesn't know it, but so he's been a kind of what's the word? Marga Pravartaka guru, showing the way. So then now he's officially, in a sense, and he's giving that instruction. So you stay here, chant Hare Krishna, and worship Tulsi, serve Tulsi. So by that time, this is a nice example going back to what Kavi Chandra was saying of receptivity. She's now become fully receptive to his instruction. Whereas, what's his name, who sent her, I always forget, Ramachandra Khan, or he's not in the picture, he doesn't have any association, he's in trouble because he's simply wanting to harm the devotee, and he's gotten no benefit from his association. That's how I would see it, the difference. Yeah.
Receptivity. Thank you.
Krishna devotees, it seems that Guru Maharaj's connection is not quite well, so we have to either wait until he reconnects, or it will reconnect soon.
You're on mute, Guru Maharaj.
There, okay. Technology. So I was just asking Vrindapati if he wants to give us his astrological perspective?
Miss, we only have 2 minutes, so
yeah.
but I can.
Well, you can say a little something.
I don't know. I was just listening to the discussion, and it says some people, Jupiter in somebody's astrological chart represents spirituality, represents guru, represents spirit. So the moon represents the mind, Chandrama Manaso Jataha, and Mercury is intelligence. So if it's afflicted in somebody's birth chart, especially these 3 planets, and especially if they're afflicted by Rahu, then it can corrupt the intelligence of somebody as well. And if they are going through, particularly inside the birth chart, they have some yogas or doshas, then it can also be a karmic thing that is coming from a previous life. So a lot of avidya is kind of tend to be spread, and electricity in cyberspace, because it's an illusory space in one sense, is ruled by Rahu. And I just was remembering one of my when I was at school, I had a Shiite Muslim friend of mine. He was very friendly to me, whilst I had a lot of heated connection with other Muslim people there. But he was very friendly to me, and he told me once, he said, they are awaiting at the end times a one-eyed cyclops and that one-eyed cyclops is going to control the world and destroy everything. And so he said to me something very interesting. He said, it's interesting that this one demon takes the form of this one eye, and it's a screen. And we're always looking at the screen all the time, and it's destroying people's consciousness, because this cyclops just has one eye and has many legs, many things. So it's possible that that this Rahu is an agent of Kali and is really drawing out the Kali Yuga and everybody. So I guess that was just a comment. It wasn't anything, not necessarily so profound.
No, it's interesting perspective, though. Okay, I guess we can end on that intriguing perspective. Now, it's been suggested to me that it might be best that, since next Saturday will be the first of the month, first of the year, it might be best that we skip next Saturday. Let everyone, you can all party to your heart's content. And we won't ask you how you celebrate it. And then we'll come back the week after that. Is that all right? In the meantime, though, you're welcome to do some reading. And maybe what we can say is this time, well, unless you have printed books of Chaitanya Charitamrita with indexes and verse indexes, it may be difficult to do this. But if you can, just for yourself, find whatever you're already reading. May not be Chaitanya Charitamrita, maybe the Gita, the Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion. See if you can make a particular effort to notice context where something is being stated and what is it that's surrounding that statement, whether it's something within a purport or whether it's something within it's quoted in a verse. The Chaitanya Charitamrita is, so to say, good for this, because Krishnadas Kaviraj does a lot of quoting of Sanskrit verses within the mainly Bengali text. So he's extracting, he's taking from somewhere else and he's inserting it and then then it becomes interesting. How is it that he has decided this verse fits here? What is he trying to do? And how can we appreciate what he's doing, taking that particular verse? So I don't know if that made any sense, but so we'll leave it open for you all to, and then if you do this, you can make 1 or 2 notes and then we can discuss next time. Is that okay? Rasodari Hari is shrugging like, yeah, maybe. It's okay. I'm open to suggestions for other ways that we have these meetings. So, but that's the idea for now. So again, I was gonna, well, time goes quickly. I was gonna talk something about the occasion, Christmas, but in any case, we can all celebrate the appearance of Jesus, who received the title Christus, the Anointed One. I think the scholars say probably didn't appear on this date. It was probably more like early January, whatever. And then there's so many more things to say about the history and so many contexts. I was thinking to talk a little about the Sermon on the Mount, as it's called in English. We might find some parallels in the Gita, but that will have to wait for another time. You may also be in the mood with the new year of making New Year's resolutions, to which I can only say, best thing is write it down, because otherwise you'll forget after a few days or weeks. Resolutions are good if we keep them. And if we don't keep them, well, resolution means vow, and vow, vrata, is something to be sustained, and through that, to please the Lord. And that's the purpose of vrata. All right, thank you all for joining, and keep well, and chant and be happy, and don't get in any internet fights. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dhoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna.
Happy New Year, Guru Maharaj.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Hare Krishna. Happy New Year. Hare Krishna.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Radhe Radhe.
Family here.
Happy New Year.
Hare Krishna.